I was still sipping my iced tea when she dropped the bomb across the white linen tablecloth like it was nothing. We're letting you go. Effective today. Just like that. My throat went dry. I blinked at her, confused, like I misheard. But no, she meant it. And the kicker? She was sliding my roll straight over to Brandon, the owner's smug, clueless nephew who didn't even know how to attach a file to an email. I laughed. Right there. Out loud. Because what they didn't realize is, I had something they didn't see coming. And I was done playing nice. Before we continue, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I honestly love reading each one. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Now, let's get started. Alright, so deep breath, let me rewind for a sec, so this all makes sense. My name's Riley Trent, with an EY. Yeah, I don't know, my mom thought it looked fancier or something. I'm 32. I live in Phoenix, the frying pan of the Southwest Phoenix, and up until that weird-ass lunch meeting, I was the senior account strategist at this digital branding agency called Lark and Amp. Gray. Sounds sleek, right? Lark and Amp. Gray. Like a skincare company that charges $80 for something that smells like damp eucalyptus and regret. But nah, it was just vibes. Fake plants in every corner, collaboration pods that were literally 2 beanbags and a power strip, and Jacqueline Wells walking around like she invented Google Docs. I'd been there 5 years. 5 whole years. I put in so much work it's honestly wild to look back now and think how much I just took. The late nights, the weekends, the emails at 10:42 p.m. with quick tweak in the subject line. You know the type. I didn't grow up with money. My mom was a high school English teacher who could recite every Shakespeare insult like it was a threat. My dad was a mechanic, quiet, oil-stained hands, soft spot for Twizzlers. They were good people. Solid. They didn't hand me a thing, which means every cent in my savings. Every new client we landed, every intern I trained, that was mine. That was me showing up and handling shit. And trust me, I handled it. We had this spreadsheet called The Pulse. It tracked all our clients, campaigns, engagement rates, deadlines, creative leads. It was supposed to be collaborative. But really, I was the only one who ever kept it updated. Brandon used to click around like it was a Sudoku puzzle, and he'd just given up halfway. Ugh, Brandon. We'll get to him. So anyway, back to me. I lived alone in this little beige carpet apartment with exactly one plant that was constantly dying no matter where I moved it. I had a dog, Scooter. He's a rescue mutt with anxiety worse than mine, and somehow he still ran the place. Every morning was the same. Alarm at 6 o'clock, gym by 7 o'clock, Scooter walked and fed by 7:45, iced coffee by 8:10, Zoom calls firing off by 8:45. I lived in a loop. A clean little system of caffeine, deliverables, and pretending to care about corporate birthday cards. I wasn't unhappy, though. I liked being good at something. Like, really good. You know that feeling when someone sends a client deck and it's all wrong, and you swoop in and fix it in 20 minutes? That rush of, damn, no one else could have done this? I lived off that. It made the crap parts, Jacqueline's emails, Brandon's existence, kind of tolerable. Until lunch. So here's the thing about Jacqueline Wells. Picture a woman who smells like citrus and lawsuits. Her hair always looked like it was done at a salon called Ice. Her nails were short and clear-coated, and her tone? Flat. Like Siri if Siri had passive-aggressive trauma. She didn't do lunch with people. Like, if you were invited to lunch by Jacqueline, you were either being promoted, profiled, or plotted against. I was hoping for option 1. Even wore lip gloss, which for me, huge. I'm usually a tinted bomb and hope for the best kind of girl. But that day, I pulled out all the stops, straightened my hair, wore the navy wrap dress that made me look vaguely like a girlboss. Told myself maybe she wanted to talk next steps. Expansion. A bigger title. I'd earned it. When I got to the restaurant, she was already seated, tapping her phone like it had offended her. I smiled. She didn't. Riley, thanks for coming. Of course. You said strategy. I pulled my chair out, careful not to let the metal legs screech. I did. She folded her menu. I'll get the tuna tartare. You. I ordered something light because I was nervous and couldn't remember how chewing worked. Iced tea, no lemon. I kept waiting for the build-up, the preamble, the we see your value speech. Instead, bam, we're letting you go. Effective today. She said it so casually, like she was telling me we were out of toner. Not that my entire career was being erased with a smile and overpriced appetizers. I blinked. Wait, sorry, you're what? You've been an asset to the team, she added, like that made it better. And then she said it. That name. Brandon will be stepping into your role. Brandon. Boring ass, unqualified, never met a deadline he didn't miss. Brandon. The owner's nephew. A man who once asked me, I kid you not, how to attach a file to an email. Twice. I think I actually laughed. Like, not even a cute giggle, like a shocked, kinda deranged chuckle that slipped out before I could stop it. Sorry, just Brandon? I said. The guy who tried to use Canva for a client presentation and sent them the template without editing it? Jacqueline just smiled. That tight, corporate smile that says, I already picked your replacement and nothing you say matters. I didn't cry. I didn't flip the table. I didn't beg. I just sat there, staring at her stupid manicured hands, thinking, oh, okay, this is how it ends. But then something weird happened. I felt calm. Like, not numb calm, focused calm. Like something clicked into place and a switch just flipped. Because they didn't know. They didn't know I'd been planning something for months. That I had backup. That I knew their systems inside out. That I had everything documented. They didn't know I'd built trust with clients who actually respected me, or that I'd been itching for a reason to finally jump. They thought they were ending something. They were actually setting it off. I left that lunch with my dignity, half a sandwich in a to-go box, and a very different plan for the rest of my week. I didn't even flinch when the Uber driver asked how my day was going. I mean, it was going, all right. Like a train flying off a cliff while someone plays smooth jazz in the background. But I didn't say that. I just buckled in, gave Scooter's dog sitter a quick update he was being a king, as usual, and stared out the window like I was in some low-budget indie film about a woman who just got laid off and is about to reinvent her entire life through emotional chaos and several aggressive to-do lists. I didn't cry. Not in the car. Not at home. Not even when I walked into my apartment and the silence hit like a slap. You know how sometimes silence is just too loud? Like it's screaming at you? That was the vibe. So, what did I do? I took off my shoes, poured a glass of Cabernet that had been open for, don't judge me, 4 days, sat cross-legged on my IKEA couch, and opened my laptop like it owed me money. And here's where it got delicious. They didn't revoke my access. Can you believe that? They fired me effective today, but never cut off my admin access to the portal, the databases, the files, the internal Slack, even my email. Like I hadn't been the literal spine of that company for 5 years. Like I didn't know where everything lived, how everything worked, and where every digital body was buried. Idiots. I logged in. Just like that, I was behind the curtain, watching Oz fiddle with his buttons like nothing had changed. Now, I want to make something clear here. I wasn't about to go full hacker movie. No revenge virus, no deleting files, no blowing things up from the inside. That's not me. I've watched enough true crime to know how that ends. But protect myself? Gather my receipts? Start quietly flipping the chessboard in my favor? Oh, hell yes. First stop, the pulse. Remember that spreadsheet? I downloaded the whole damn thing, client notes, timelines, budget approvals, pitch decks I wrote from scratch while Brandon was taking a long lunch or in a visioning session, which apparently meant scrolling Twitter. I took screenshots of Slack convos where he missed deadlines and blamed the interns. Emails where I stepped in to calm a client who was 2 seconds away from walking. I even found an internal doc where I literally rewrote his pitch notes because they were too wordy. That was me being polite. They were a fevered dream in Times New Roman. Click, save, click, save. I created a little folder on my desktop called Riley's Receipts and started filling it like a squirrel prepping for apocalypse winter. And then I opened a different folder, one I'd been secretly adding to for months. Trend Theory, my maybe someday dream project. A boutique strategy firm, small but potent, female run. Soul first. No fake productivity hacks. No 10-person meetings that could have been a GIF. Just sharp, clean, high-impact branding for companies who actually gave a damn. I had a logo mock-up I made at 2 a.m. one night after a particularly soul-draining pitch call. A color palette inspired by desert tones and burnt orange sunsets. Even a half-baked deck explaining how we'd do things differently, less noise, more narrative. Someday had just become today. I made a list. Actually, I made 3. List 1. People I trust. It was short. Like, for names. Dana was on it, my ride or die from the social team, the kind of person who could dismantle an influencer campaign and your ex in the same breath. I texted her one sentence. They fired me. I've got a plan. Call me if you're in. She called in 10 minutes. List 2. Clients to watch. Not to steal. No, but to inform. These were clients I built relationships with, real ones. The kind where they knew I had their backs and their brand's soul memorized better than their own mission statement. I picked 5. Only 5. Strategic, powerful, high-revenue brands who valued me, not just the agency names stamped on my email. I drafted 5 carefully worded messages. They weren't dramatic. Just clear. Hey, name. Just wanted to let you know I'm transitioning out of L and AMP. G. If you ever need the same strategy, attention, and transparency without the corporate fluff, I'm just a text away. All love. Riley. I hit send. Then I stared at my screen, heart pounding like I'd just pulled off a heist and didn't know if the silent alarm had gone off. 1 hour later, I had 3 responses. All warm. All curious. 2 asked for a call that night. 1 even replied with, "Are you finally starting your own thing? Because we're so, and if you are." I reread that text 5 times. Because that was it. That was my confirmation. My moment. My I'm not crazy, I'm just ahead of the curve flashing me on sign. While Jacqueline was sipping overpriced Pinot and patting herself on the back for another quarter of fake innovation, I was already on the runway, heels off, sleeves up, fire in my eyes. I wasn't even mad anymore. I was activated. Like the betrayal had melted the last layer of politeness I'd been wearing, and underneath was this whole other version of me. Focused, strategic, slightly unhinged in the best way. They thought they were the wolves? Please. I'd been walking among sheep pretending to be one of them. But now I was building my own damn pack. So, 3 days go by. I'm deep in work like crusty sweatshirt, half-eaten bag of pita chips next to my laptop, Scooter sighing dramatically every time I forget to walk him. Deep. I'm stitching together proposals, setting up an LLC, Googling things like how to invoice like a professional when you're screaming internally and feeling more alive than I had in years. Then I get this text from Dana. Brandon. Oh my God. You sitting down. Which is never a casual way to start a message, by the way. I literally said Jesus out loud and FaceTimed her without even responding. She picked up in 2 seconds, already laughing. Like, snorting. Girl, she said, trying to catch her breath. He pitched to McKelvey. Alone. No oversight. No Riley. No one to hold his little baby hands. I blinked. Wait, the McKelvey account? Our biggest, and messiest, and high maintenance as hell. That one. I just stared at her. They let him present? With his PowerPoint skills from 2004. Oh, it gets better, she said, flipping her phone so I could see her screen. Look at this. She had a screenshot from one of the design interns, God bless them. It was a single slide from Brandon's deck. In bold font at the top, innovation meets intuition. Innovation. I choked on my coffee. No. Yes. That's when I saw it. In 4 separate slides, he spelled the McKelvey CEO's name wrong. 4 times. In a row. How is that even possible? I said, it's literally in his email. He signs it every time. He copy-pasted from an old internal doc, Dana said, smirking. Didn't check it. Didn't proof. Sent it out to the entire board. I slumped back in my chair, hand over my mouth. This man, the same man they fired me for, the one Jacqueline called a fresh perspective, the one who once asked me if BCC was a new brand of tea. And here he was, publicly combusting. Dana grinned like it was Christmas morning. The client walked, fully, emailed Jacqueline personally and said they're pausing all partnerships. I didn't cheer. I didn't gloat. But you better believe I poured myself a mimosa at 3 p.m. that day and played Beyoncé's Run the World on loop while updating my pitch materials. Because here's the thing about Brandon. He wasn't just inexperienced. He was dangerous in that very particular way mediocre people are when handed power they didn't earn. Overconfident, underprepared, and totally unaware that the ground under their feet is crumbling. I got more messages over the next week. One client ghosted them. Another posted a vague LinkedIn update about investing in values-aligned strategy partners, which I knew for a fact was shade. Meanwhile, I was over here glowing up. Like overnight, I'd landed 2 signed contracts. Built a Squarespace site so clean it looked illegal. My inbox? Poppin'. My DMs? Respectfully flooded. Then came the Zoom. I joined the call 10 minutes early because I'm still a Virgo and trauma runs deep. It was a check-in with a client I hadn't heard from since I left L and AMP. When I wasn't sure I'd even keep, they were loyal to a fault and had worked with the agency for almost a decade. I took a deep breath and clicked join. And there they were, the whole team, silent for a beat. Then the CEO smiled. Riley, she said. Thank God. We were hoping you'd reach out. I blinked. You were. Of course. That pitch they sent last week honestly felt like a parody of your work. Like someone tried to impersonate you, but forgot the brain part. I laughed, ugly laughed. I couldn't help it. That call turned into a retainer. A big one. One I hadn't even dared to pitch yet. They offered it because they didn't want L and AMP. They didn't want Brandon. They wanted me. And that's when the real emails started rolling in. One by one. Past clients. Referrals. Even a competitor who wanted to pick my brain, which is code for, I'm low-key intimidated, but maybe we could collaborate if I act chill. Meanwhile, word inside L and AMP. Was that Brandon was spiraling. Jacqueline tried to spin it on the all-hands Zoom, something about market volatility and shifting tides, but people weren't buying it. You could see it. In the faces, the side eyes, the subtle slack shade. Dana sent me a screenshot of a private channel someone made called Innovation Watch. I screamed. And just when I thought the circus had peaked, I got the email. Subject line, urgent meeting request, Trend Theory collaboration, from Jacqueline. Jacqueline, she wanted to talk, wanted to explore synergies, wanted to possibly collaborate on a consultancy basis because they were in transition and seeking external expertise. I stared at it for a full minute. Then I leaned back in my chair, scooter curled under my feet, coffee in one hand, and just smiled. Because I'd done it. I'd built something from scratch, from spite, from fire. And now the very people who threw me out were knocking at my door. So, get this? I get the email, right? Jacqueline, the same woman who basically ambushed me over Caesar salads and an overpriced glass of rose just weeks ago, is now using phrases like strategic realignment and collaborative elevation, which is rich, coming from someone who once told me, straight-faced, that Brandon had a disruptive mind. Anyway, I don't respond. Not immediately. I wait. 2 days go by. She follows up. Then a third email, CCIN to her assistant, with a totally fake just checking in energy that's basically code for we're panicking and need you yesterday. So I reply, one line, happy to chat. Same place, my schedule's open Friday at 12:30. And listen, I knew she'd show. That's the thing about people like Jacqueline, they're predictable. Always trying to dress desperation up in power suits and vague lingo. But at the end of the day, she was circling the drain and I had the plug in my hand. Friday comes. I walk in 5 minutes early because I wanted her to see me waiting. Calm, collected, not the woman she thought she broke. I wore this deep green blouse, hair down, little gold hoops, subtle, but polished. No revenge dress, no dramatic makeup. Just a woman who looked like she owned the place. Because, Loki, I kinda did now. She walks in, same exact blazer as last time, like she's cosplaying as the CEO she used to be. Her assistant isn't with her. Brandon? Nowhere in sight. I raise an eyebrow. Just you today? She does this tight smile and sets her bag down. He's no longer with the company, she says, smoothing her napkin on her lap like we're still playing nice. Oh no, I say, dragging it out just enough to make it clear I'm full of shit. That's so unexpected. She doesn't even blink. I give her a beat, let her sit in it. Then I sip my iced tea. Slowly. Same order. Same damn glass. It's like deja vu, but flipped. She starts talking. The usual fluff, big changes, internal challenges, pivoting to meet client needs. I don't interrupt. I let her wind herself up, watching her face twitch when I don't react. Then she says it. We'd like to bring you back. As a consultant. I blink. She keeps going, like she rehearsed this in the mirror. Not full-time, of course. But we're offering full autonomy, creative direction on campaigns, a leadership voice in brand strategy. It's flexible, lucrative. We'd pay top tier. I stay quiet. She leans in. You could help turn things around, Riley. With your insight, we could rebuild stronger. And then she says the line that actually makes me laugh out loud. You've always been our most trusted strategist. I legit snort. Right there. In that nice-ass restaurant with the white tablecloths and tiny butter ramekins. Because, girl, the audacity. I wipe my mouth with a napkin and lean back. You know what's funny? I say, that's not what you said 3 weeks ago when you were sliding my job across the table to a guy who once asked if we needed to pay the interns in real money. She doesn't flinch, but her eye twitches. I don't stop. You didn't trust me then. You just assumed I'd go quietly, that I'd cry in my car, update my resume, beg for scraps. But I didn't. I let that hang. Watch her chew the inside of her cheek. I built something. With no safety net, no VC funding, no nepotism, just work, just truth. And guess what? It's thriving. She opens her mouth. I cut her off. I didn't build trend theory to clean up your mess. I built it to make sure I'd never sit across from someone like you again, someone who only sees value when it's convenient. She's quiet, hands folded, waiting for me to soften. So I twist the knife gently. If you want strategy, I say, book a discovery call. We're $850 an hour, and we're booked 2 months out. Her mouth opens, then closes, like a goldfish. It's beautiful. I sip my tea again. Calm, smooth. Then I stand. Good luck, Jacqueline. I slide my chair in, drop a 20 for the server even though we didn't eat, and walk out with my head high, hips loose, soul lit. I didn't look back. Didn't need to, because this time, I'd already won. 6 months later, I'm walking into my new office. Actual office, not some sad little co-working booth with bad lighting and a shared microwave that smells like burnt popcorn and regret. No, this one's on the corner of 6th and Central, downtown Phoenix. Exposed brick, plants in every corner, big-ass windows that let the sun pour in like a hug. And right by the door, a glowing neon sign on the wall in bold cursive, Built, not bought. That was Scooter's idea. Not really, he's a dog, but I was talking to him when I thought of it, so I'm giving him partial credit. Anyway, trend theory? She's real. Like real. I've got a team now, 6 wild, brilliant, hilarious humans who get me, who get it, who show up every day with fire in their chest and snacks in their bags. We're not corporate. We're personal. We're punchy. We're weird in the best way. We make strategy feel like art. And clients? They're flocking. Not because I begged, but because word travels when you actually deliver. You want to hear something petty but delicious? 3 of the agency's biggest clients now work with us. Not because I poached them. I didn't have to. They came to me. One of them, the same VP who once told me, "Your ideas are great, but Brandon's name carries weight." He sent me a literal apology email. Subject line, "I misjudged you." No shit, Greg. His name's Greg. Of course it is. Anyway, he's on a month-to-month retainer now. Pays on time. Says please. And remember Dana? My ride-or-die social lead who got the boot right before me? She's now my director of content. Full salary. Full freedom. She brought the mood boards and the memes. We brought the fire. But the glow-up? It wasn't just in the office. I started waking up without that pit in my stomach. You know the one. That ache that sits just behind your ribs like a heavy roommate, always whispering, "You're not doing enough." Gone. I got my life back. Started going to this open mic night every other Thursday. Not to perform, just to listen. Let words hit me. Let people's stories soften my edges again. I got back into painting. Nothing fancy. Just cheap acrylics, messy hands, late nights with records spinning and Scooter curled at my feet like a living weighted blanket. And I started dating again. Nothing serious, not at first. But then there was this one guy, Eli. Tall, quiet, wore beat-up Vans, and always smelled like cedar wood and black coffee. He saw me at the open mic, complimented my laugh, not my outfit. Said I sounded like someone who fights hard and loves harder. Swoon. We started talking. Slow. No pressure. But something about him made me breathe. He didn't want to fix me. He didn't want to ride my wave. He just wanted to know me. And let me tell you, after months of clawing my way back into the light, that felt like magic. We'd take these long bike rides at night, through the city, through back alleys lit by fairy lights, past taco trucks and graffiti walls that looked like they were painted by angels with spray cans. He asked me once, mid-ride, "What would you tell the you from a year ago?" I didn't even hesitate. Keep going. They don't see you now, but they will. And that's the truth. Because Jacqueline stepped down 3 months ago. Word on the street? The board didn't trust her anymore. Some quiet restructuring. New leadership. PR fluff. The usual. And Brandon? Girl. He's selling houses now. Or trying to. I saw one of his TikToks, bad lighting, worse angles, and him saying things like luxury vibes while showing a 2-bed ranch next to a gas station. The comment section? Brutal. One said, "Didn't this guy used to run a company into the ground?" I didn't reply, but I liked it. So no, I'm not just the girl who got fired at lunch. I'm the woman who built an empire by dinner. I'm the one who rose from that table with grace in one hand and receipts in the other. Who took their dismissal and turned it into a blueprint. Who chose herself, again and again and again, until that choice became a legacy. Want the truth? Sometimes, the people who try to tear you down are the ones who end up handing you the hammer to build something better. And if they don't realize who they're messing with, let them find out.